Bhavtosh, just give me a minute here just to recap what's happened in the last 15 minutes. After 10 days, ladies and gentlemen, the system is finally moving to get some semblance of justice for Twisha and her family. Under sustained public pressure, Samarth Singh, her husband, has been forced to surrender. He came wearing a cap, a mask and sunglasses. He's on your screens, trying his best to conceal his identity. But he was soon surrounded by the waiting press who alleged that he misbehaved with them. The Jabalpur court asked him to surrender in Bhopal, but ultimately that surrender happened in Jabalpur. I believe he's now in police custody. But Twisha's family is questioning why he hasn't been arrested. Listen in to what they're saying.
जब मीडिया समर्थ को पकड़ सकती है तो पुलिस क्यों नहीं पकड़ रही है? जबलपुर पुलिस को तुरंत उसको गिरफ्तार करना चाहिए और भोपाल पुलिस के हवाले करना चाहिए। मेरा भी यही क्वेश्चन है, हमने भी अभी जस्ट वीडियो देखी और मेरा भी यही सवाल है कि वो ऐसे खुलेआम घूम रहा है और पुलिस उसको पकड़ नहीं पा रही है। वो अपने आराम से घूम रहा है, उसकी माँ आराम से घूम रही है, पर इनको पकड़ने वाला कोई नहीं है।
माननीय उच्च न्यायालय ने आज ये आदेश किया है कि समर्थ सिंह या तो ट्रायल कोर्ट के सामने सरेंडर करें या वे इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर के सामने सरेंडर करें। ट्रायल कोर्ट भोपाल की है, ट्रायल कोर्ट जेएमएफसी कोर्ट भोपाल है, जिसके पास कटारा हिल्स थाने का क्षेत्राधिकार है। यह चीफ जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट भोपाल है। इसके अलावा इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर है, एसआईटी है और आज ही आदेश हुआ है कि सीबीआई भी है। आप देखिए, एक जज, एक रिटायर्ड जज के लड़के को किस तरीके से बचाया जा रहा है। डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट जबलपुर में उनको सरेंडर करने का कोई अधिकार नहीं है। हमें पता चला वो ये सरेंडर करने आए। अगर यहाँ उन्हें अप्रोच करना भी था तो वो चीफ जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट जबलपुर की कोर्ट में जाते। मैं गया था चीफ जुडिशियल मजिस्ट्रेट की कोर्ट में, उन्होंने बोला मेरे यहाँ कोई नहीं आया। फिर मुझे भनक मिली, मुझे खबर स्टेटस क्या है? बिल्कुल गलत स्टेटस है, यहाँ सरेंडर करने का कोई अधिकार नहीं है।
Ladies and gentlemen, the surrender happened after his lawyer withdrew his anticipatory bail application and said that his client, that is Samarth, wanted to surrender immediately because he wanted to prepare for his wife's last rites. Can you imagine that? Rich coming from someone who was called Twisha a schizophrenic and a drug addict in the last 10 days. But, ladies and gentlemen, it was a day of hope for Twisha's family. The Madhya Pradesh government has recommended a CBI probe and has given the go-ahead for a second post-mortem as the family has been demanding. My colleagues continue to be on the ground tracking the story. Priyank, Bhavtosh and Rucha continue to be with us. Rucha, I'm coming to you first just to understand what exactly happened in Jabalpur court. In the Jabalpur court, the judge was very clear. He said, if you want to surrender, you go and surrender in Bhopal, right? Where the case has been registered. Then what changed that the surrender happened in Jabalpur itself?
Like you rightly mentioned, it was very clear what the court said. If you want to surrender, you can surrender within 24 hours, either before the investigative agencies, SIT, or the Madhya Pradesh Police, or you can surrender to the concerned court. Now, by concerned court, the court meant where the court is currently, the case is currently listed, and that is the Bhopal District Court. But despite that, being a legal advisor himself, he chose to go to the Jabalpur court and surrender himself. But after he reached there, the court denied allowing him to surrender and asked, rather than coming here, you could have gone to the Bhopal district court, and has suggested him so. And following which we saw how he was trying to hide his identity. For the past 10 days, he remained silent, he remained absconding, and now today, while he tried to surrender himself, he could not do that. But immediately the Jabalpur's Omti police reached on the spot, and they have taken him into custody. And the family was even now saying that the mother and son are freely roaming here and there, but nobody is catching them. In fact, the mother is also currently avoiding questioning from the police. SIT has sent 3 summons to her, but despite that, she denies getting any summons guidance from the police, but she said that yesterday was the first time when she was approached from Katara Hills police station, for which she was expected to go to the interrogation today, but she has clearly denied doing that also. So the question here is why is the mother and son avoiding commenting, or not just commenting but appearing before the agencies that are the investigative agency? If they have nothing to hide, why was the son hiding for 10 days? And like his mother continued to say that her son is not missing, he is not hiding.
Okay,
He's
okay,
taking
give me a
legal
moment here. I'm getting in Makarand, who is joining us on the broadcast. Makarand, मैं आपकी रिपोर्ट देख रही थी, आपने बहन से बात की है, परिवार अभी गुस्सा है, उनको वो कह रहे हैं कि ये सरेंडर क्यों, इसको ये अरेस्ट क्यों नहीं किया गया, इसको सरेंडर करने की इजाजत क्यों दी गई, तो ये गुस्सा क्यों है, मैं आपसे जानना चाहती हूँ। क्या पुलिस/कोर्ट अभी कुछ भी बोल रहा है?
देखिए, अभी हिरासत में ले लिया गया है। ओमती पुलिस वहां पर मौजूद है और साथ ही साथ भोपाल पुलिस भी वहां पर मौजूद है। भोपाल पुलिस कटारा हिल्स थाना की जो है वो वहां पर केस डायरी लेकर गई थी, इसलिए वहां पर भोपाल पुलिस की एक जो सुरक्षाकर्मी है वो वहां पर हैं और ओमती पुलिस ने आधिकारिक रूप से हिरासत में लिया है और अब वो हैंडओवर करेगी भोपाल पुलिस को और संभवतः आज रात को ही देर रात तक भोपाल ले आया जाएगा समर्थ सिंह को और फिर यहाँ पर उसको कोर्ट में प्रस्तुत करके या तो पुलिस रिमांड ली जाएगी या तो उसको जुडिशली रिमांड पर भेजा जाएगा। ये कोर्ट के ऊपर निर्भर करता है। अभी फिलहाल सवाल यह है कि एक अपराधी या कहूं एक आरोपी जो है वो उसके ऊपर एफआईआर दर्ज होती है और उसके बाद 10 दिन तक वो पुलिस के हाथ नहीं लगता, भोपाल से जबलपुर पहुंच जाता है, वहां पर हाईकोर्ट पहुंचता है, हाईकोर्ट में सरेंडर का प्रयास करता है, वहां मौजूद मीडिया कर्मियों से और वहां मौजूद स्थानीय लोगों से बदसलूकी करता है, बदतमीजी करता है, उसके साथ के लोग बदतमीजी करते हैं और उसके बाद वहां पर हंगामा होता है। फिर उसके बहुत देर के बाद वहां पर पुलिस पहुंचती है। तो पुलिस की कार्यप्रणाली पर जरूर सवालिया निशान खड़ा होता है कि आपकी इंटेलिजेंस क्या कर रही है, आपके वहां के लोकल सुरक्षाकर्मी क्या कर रहे हैं, क्या जबलपुर कोर्ट के अंदर जाते हुए वहां पर कोई चेकिंग नहीं हुई, वहां पर क्या किसी पुलिसकर्मी ने, किसी सुरक्षा कर्मी ने ये आइडेंटिफाई नहीं किया कि वहां पर समर्थ सिंह पहुंचा है। तो एक बहुत बड़ा फेलियर है पुलिस के एंड से अगर देखा जाए कि एक आरोपी इतने लंबे समय तक अपराध करने के बाद सरेंडर करने की कोशिश करता है, वो भी जबलपुर जाकर। भोपाल कोर्ट में चलिए लोकल मसला है, लेकिन ये एक बड़ा सवाल है।
जी मकरंद, सवाल तो ये आप बिल्कुल सही सवाल उठा रहे हैं कि 10 दिन तक जो एक जिसको कहा जा रहा है एक आरोपी है केस में, वो 10 दिन तक गायब है। भोपाल पुलिस को, मध्य प्रदेश पुलिस को कुछ उसका आता पता नहीं है और फिर जाके वो जबलपुर में सरेंडर करता है, चुपचाप कोर्ट में बैठा रहता है और पुलिस को कुछ पता भी नहीं है। आई थिंक मकरंद इज ट्राइंग टू गेट अस अ फर्स्ट रिएक्शन। मकरंद, मुझे लग रहा है कि आप हमारे लिए परिवार की तरफ से एक रिएक्शन लाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। जब भी वो तैयार हो आप हमको पक्का बताइए। We'll come back to you. So that is Makarand there reporting for us, and I think he's trying to get a first reaction from the uncle. Let's listen into Makarand. Makarand, बोलिए।
समर्थ सिंह को हिरासत में लिया है पुलिस ने, अब भोपाल लाया जाएगा। आपको लगता है कि अब समर्थ सिंह की गिरफ्तारी के बाद ये जो सच्चाई है इस पूरे केस की सामने आएगी?
निश्चित तौर पर सामने आएगी, क्योंकि जब अभियुक्त गिरफ्तार हुआ है, अभी उनकी माताजी का भी गिरफ्तारी होना बाकी है, क्योंकि पूरी सबूतों से छेड़छाड़ करते हुए और पूरा का पूरा बयानबाजी करते हुए, जो कि उनको जिस आधार पर बेल मिली थी, उस बेल की सारी शर्तों का उल्लंघन करते हुए वो पूरे केस के सबूतों के साथ में छेड़छाड़ कर रही हैं। और वो अभी तक सबसे जो आश्चर्यजनक बात है कि वो उस घटना स्थल पर खुद मौजूद हैं, जो कि सीज हो जाना चाहिए था। अभी तक वो उनके अधिकार क्षेत्र में है, जहां फॉरेंसिक को कल को क्या मिलेगा क्या नहीं मिलेगा तो उसका जिम्मेदार कौन होगा? यहाँ का प्रशासन होगा, जिसने अभी तक इस घर को सीज नहीं किया। तो ये सवाल जरूर पूछा जाना चाहिए वापस प्रशासन से कि उस घर को अभी तक पूरा सीज क्यों नहीं किया गया है।
पुलिस वहां पर पहुंची है, उन्होंने घटनास्थल का मुआयना किया है, जाहिर सी बात है उन्होंने कोर्ट के सामने प्रस्तुत किया होगा, आपके वकील भी कोर्ट में गए। क्या इस तरह का कोई भी सबूत, वहां के पिक्चर्स, वहां के वीडियोज, वहां क्या बरामद हुआ, इसकी आपको जानकारी उपलब्ध कराई गई?
जी बिल्कुल भी नहीं कराई गई, हमें कोई जानकारी नहीं दी गई। हमारे मांगने के ऊपर, हमारे पूछने के ऊपर हमें वो जहां पर जितने आदमी जो वहां पर पकड़े गए हैं, दिखाई गए हैं, उनका अभी तक कोई बयान दर्ज नहीं है। हमें नहीं पता किसका क्या बनाया बयान है, वो कौन से आदमी वहां पर थे, वो कौन लोग हैं, कुछ भी हमें नहीं पता उस बारे में।
जिस तरह से आज समर्थ सिंह कोर्ट में पहुंचा था, बदसलूकी की, वहां के मौजूद मीडिया कर्मियों से बदसलूकी की, जवाब देने से बचता रहा, वहां पर जो बार चैम्बर है वहां जाकर बैठ गया, जो वहां पर उनके स्थानीय वकील हैं उन्होंने बदसलूकी की। इतनी अकड़ क्यों है आखिर? ऐसा कौन सा सिस्टम है जिसको लेकर के इनको कोई खौफ नहीं है, कोई डर नहीं है?
मैं बार चैम्बर के तमाम उन लोगों से पूछना चाहता हूं जिन्होंने एक अपराधी को अपने चैम्बर के अंदर बिठाया, क्या वो दूसरे अधिकारियों को भी उतना अधिकार, उस अपराधियों को भी उतना अधिकार देंगे कि वो कल को उनके यहाँ चैम्बर में आके बैठने लगे? उससे उनकी मिलीभगत, उनके प्रभावशाली होने का ये सीधा सीधा प्रमाण है। पुलिस का उनको उनके पास तक अब तक ना पहुंच पाना, ये मतलब आप खुद समझ सकते हैं। मीडिया कर्मियों के ऊपर हमला बुरी तरीके से, उनको मारने पीटने की कोशिश, काले कोट में जो वकीलों के बीच में वकीलों को बदनाम करने के लिए घूम रहा, उनके साथ में जो झुंड है वो वकीलों का झुंड नहीं है।
आपके पक्ष के वकील भी वहां पर गए थे, आपके पक्ष के वकील गए थे, उनको भी एंट्री नहीं करने दी, उनके साथ भी बदसलूकी हुई, धक्का मुक्की हुई।
एक अपराधी बहुत आराम से अंदर पहुंच जाता है और जो पीड़ित परिवार है उनका वकील वहां तक पहुंचने में उसको संघर्ष करना पड़ रहा है। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि कितना प्रभावशाली ये परिवार है और कितना ये बड़ा माफिया है ये भोपाल का।
ठीक है, अब सोमवार को गिरिबाला सिंह की अग्रिम जमानत पर सुनवाई है, अग्रिम जमानत को रद्द करने को लेकर सुनवाई है, आपका रुख क्या रहने वाला?
देखिए, हमारा रुख तो, हम तो जमानत का विरोध करेंगे, मगर सरकारों को आना चाहिए, उनको ऐसे अधिकारियों का, ऐसे उनके जो भी पदस्थ इस समय अधिकारी हैं उनका संरक्षण खत्म करना चाहिए उनको, और उनको खुद स्वयं ऑटो लेके ऐसे अपराधियों को गिरफ्तार कराना चाहिए।
तो ये अब चाचा हैं ट्विशा के, और इनका सीधे तौर पर ये मानना है कि ये जो पूरा घटनाक्रम हुआ है इसको लेकर के अब पुलिस को सख्त रुख इख्तियार करना होगा, और जो भी अपराध हुआ है उसको लेकर के सख्ती से पूछताछ करनी होगी, और जो रसूखदार होने का बार बार सबूत दे रहा है समर सिंह, उस एक कॉन्फिडेंस को तोड़ने की जरूरत है कि अपराधी कोई भी हो, किसी भी किस्म का हो आरोपी, उसके साथ सख्त व्यवहार पुलिस करेगी। जी
मकरंद हमारे साथ बने रहिए, बिकॉज आई एम नाउ गोइंग अक्रॉस टू मेजर हर्षित, हु इज त्विशा's brother, reacting to what has happened in court.
हर्षित हमारे साथ बात करने के लिए समर्थ सिंह कोर्ट पहुंचे हैं, और वहां पर मीडिया से बदसलूकी कर रहा है वो एक शख्स, वहां पर पुलिस से बचकर पहुंचा है। सिस्टम का कितना बड़ा फेलियर है कि एक शख्स भोपाल में क्राइम करता है और उसके बाद हाईकोर्ट जाता है सरेंडर करने, और वहां पर सरेंडर भी नहीं होता है, वहां से कोर्ट से बाहर भेज दिया जाता है, गिरफ्तारी नहीं हो रही।
जी, इसका सबसे पहला यही है कि हमें पता पड़ता है कि अगर कोई सिस्टम का पार्ट है, उनको सारे रूल रूल्स पता है, उनको पता है उनका भोपाल में सरेंडर नहीं होगा, इसीलिए वो भोपाल में गए हैं ताकि उनको कुछ समय दिया जाए ट्रांजिट में। अब उन्होंने बताया कि उनकी जान को खतरा है। वो जान को खतरा कहाँ था? जब ये भोपाल से जबलपुर गए, भोपाल में जाने के बाद इनको जबलपुर में जाने के बाद इनको जान का खतरा हुआ, महसूस हुआ। दे आर एक्सप्लॉइटिंग द लूप होल्स, दे नो द लूप होल्स, और उसका फायदा उठा रहे हैं, ये सिस्टम का फायदा उठा रहे हैं। वाई इज द मीडिया द फर्स्ट एंटिटी हु वाज अवेयर कि भाई समर्थ सिंह कोर्ट के अंदर है? क्या ये मीडिया का काम है? इन्वेस्टिगेशन मीडिया का काम नहीं है, इन्वेस्टिगेशन काम है पुलिस का। वाई इज पुलिस बीइंग अ फेलियर एट दिस एंड एंड मीडिया is coming forth with the exact location and the news on him?
बदसलूकी कर रहा है समर्थ सिंह, कॉन्फिडेंस इतना क्यों है आपको लगता है कि अभी भी बिल्कुल अकड़ टूट नहीं रही, बिल्कुल लगातार खुलेआम कोर्ट में घूम रहा है, जो सवाल कर रहा है उससे बदतमीजी कर रहा है?
The fact that he is part of the system, उनको सबका पता है उनके पीछे पीछे कौन कौन है। जो बदसलूकी आज हुई है वो बदसलूकी उस दिन भी हुई थी हमारे साथ, जब फर्स्ट सेशन और फर्स्ट हियरिंग थी, उस दिन भी ऐसा ही हुआ था। बस उस समय आप नहीं थे हमारे साथ, उस समय हम एक दूसरे के साथ हम बस रुके हुए थे, हमने ये सहा था उस दिन भी। एग्जैक्टली सेम चीज हो रही थी, बट जिस प्रकार से अभी मीडिया को हाथापाई करी गई, उस समय हमारे ऊपर ऐसा कोशिश करी थी इन्होंने। तो इट इज नॉट समथिंग न्यू विच इज हैपनिंग।
अब आपको लग रहा है सीबीआई की एंट्री हुई है, कोर्ट ने दोबारा पोस्टमार्टम की भी आपकी अर्जी स्वीकार कर ली है, कुछ न्याय की तरफ कदम बढ़ा है, अब तो संभवतः गिरफ्तारी भी जल्दी हो जाएगी।
बिल्कुल, इट इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप। एज आई एम सेइंग, ये एक छोटी विन है। लड़ाई अभी जारी है और हमारे प्रयास अभी भी ऐसे उतने ही बरकरार रहेंगे। ये बस हमें डायरेक्शन मिला है हमारे आगे बढ़ने का, अभी हमें आगे बढ़ना है।
Okay, we've heard from the family. Now let's quickly hear from our guests as well. Tasneem Siddiqui is a senior advocate joining us on the broadcast. Aditya Pratap is a lawyer as well. And Barnali Basak is a lawyer. She's joining us here in the Noida studio. Barnali Basak, I'm just going to ask you to react to what the family is saying. The family is very upset. They're saying for 10 days, someone who's accused in the death of his wife is absconding. The Bhopal police has absolutely no clue. The Madhya Pradesh police has absolutely no clue. God knows if they even made any attempt to find him. On day 10, under sustained public pressure and under sustained media pressure, he decides to surrender. Do they have a right to? I understand you'll say, well, Samarth has the legal right to do what is best for him. But is their anger justified that the Bhopal police and the Madhya Pradesh police allowed him to surrender? They didn't arrest him.
It is like, of course, there's a huge lapse in the system. What I've read about the case, I mean, the lapse, why? Because if the police is not, interrogating on time and they've not arrested and he's shown as absconding, there has to be a judicial order to that effect that he's been absconding. The first question is when an accused is absconding or he's on the run, that itself shows that he's somewhere guilty. Or it may be the scare factor in him that, he'll be behind the bars. So the thing is, the fact is that why he surrendered after 10 days is because he'll not be able to get a regular bail if he doesn't cooperate with the system or the interrogation. That is why probably he surrendered at the last moment. His behavior at this point is totally unjustified. But since this is a case to, abetment to suicide, there has to be a direct proximate relationship between the accused's conduct and, the person who has committed the suicide. Whether there was constant bickering or, forcing or coercion or, which forced her to commit the suicide. All this has to be established and all the evidence has to come forward, and only then we can establish whether it was an abetment to suicide or not.
Abetment to suicide cases, Aditya Pratap, I believe are extremely difficult to get a conviction in, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But does the fact that Samarth, despite being a lawyer himself, an advocate himself, decided to go absconding for 10 days, is that something that is going to work against him?
In my opinion, not at all, because first and foremost, any allegation of the crime is specific to the offense and the incidents running up to it. What happens after the offense may not be of much material. And secondly, the point is in India, the right to freedom and liberty is guarded under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Remember, if a person in India stands accused of any crime, number one, he has the right to remain silent. He has the right to remain silent. He cannot be compelled to become a witness against himself. Second, he is under no obligation to turn himself in the sense the police arrests him well and good. Otherwise, the other remedies are, of course, available under the BNSS for a person who's absconding. But mere fact that he has not turned himself in will not, in my opinion, point to his intent. Because, and ultimately, he can stay undercover somewhere. He can file anticipatory bail application. His anticipatory bail application got rejected. He can approach Honorable High Court. High Court rejects his anticipatory bail. He can approach Honorable Supreme Court also. And then, of course, courts can, and if he does not appear, the police can file an application, get declared an absconder. But an accused has a right to maintain his liberty and, his liberty and freedom.
But many people can argue this is a sign of his guilt. Give me a moment here.
No,
because,
not at all.
Aditya, I'll come back to that question.
This is not a sign of his guilt.
Okay, I'll come back to that question and I'll let the lawyers argue it out. I'll come back to that question. Give me a moment here because we are hearing from the father who has reacted to Samarth Singh after 10 days, finally deciding to show up in a court of law and surrender. Let's quickly listen into that.
Father who's joining us on the phone line. Thank you so much हमारे साथ बात करने के लिए. Finally, now we know Samarth has been taken into custody. He has come into surrender. There are technicalities involved. मगर आपको लगता है that the road to justice slowly is appearing?
The road to justice is appearing, but you see that today they have actually withdrawn their bail application, and the order has been passed कि if Samarth want to surrender, he can only surrender in front of IO or in the trial court.
Yes, in Bhopal, that's right.
But they are very smart people. They are very influential people from right beginning. I am telling you, they have adopted a backdoor method and they have applied for transit kind of surrender through district court, which is actually against the law. He cannot surrender. Any judge who is giving the permission of surrender through district court is absolutely violation of the law. Because today High Court has already instructed that he can surrender only on the two conditions. He should be arrested by police, not surrender. Please look out.
Do you think,
Please look out.
Mr. Sharma, do you think that Samarth, being a lawyer himself, would know the technicalities of the surrender?
Yes, whole family is playing tactics game, whole family is influencing. You say, this is the clear-cut example. If in any case, if district court gives the permission of surrendering him, then it's a total violation of the law. It will be called they have actually bought this whole system under their belt.
Aditya Pratap, in your view, is this a violation of the law? What happened?
No, see, in this case, we have an investigating officer. We have the Katara Hills Police Station, which is investigating. Katara Hills Police has the power and ability to search him across anywhere in the four corners of India. Now, in my opinion, obviously, in this case, what did the court say? We will not accept your surrender application. You either surrender before the concerned magistrate having jurisdiction, who can then either remand you to police custody, or you surrender before investigating officer, who can arrest you. Now the point is, the onus is on the police, because the prerogative to arrest a person is totally within the powers of the police.
Correct.
Courts have only powers to remand to custody, and here, in my opinion, the court has stuck to the letter of the law of the BNSS, that the courts need not, transgress the limits of their jurisdiction. However, if the investigating officer is alert, he can show up at the gates of the court. Moment the accused exited the gates of the court, the investigating officer could have reached there and arrested.
The problem is everyone was clueless. He was sitting quietly inside a courtroom. No one had any clue. Absolutely no one had any clue till Twisha's lawyer spots him. And then he runs into one of the chambers and he's protected by his own. That is what happened. When Twisha's parents... Tasneem, let Tasneem also come in. Tasneem, when Twisha's parents, her brother, her sister, friends say that there is an entire system that is protecting Samarth and Giribala, this is what they mean then.
I would disagree.
Acha, you can disagree, but first let Tasneem come in.
Well, the investigation does show certain loopholes, and it is but natural for people to reach that conclusion. The people surrounding her relatives, her immediate family, friends would reach that conclusion because the mother-in-law belongs to the judiciary, the husband is a lawyer. So that conclusion is but obvious. Now, only the investigation will say just how much lacuna was there. We will only know there are a lot of things surfacing, her WhatsApp messages, all these things are surfacing, which point to the fact that there was enough material to arrest the husband. But
Correct.
Why the police didn't act and why the person was allowed to surrender? Where was the investigation officer? Why wasn't he, why were his call records not being tapped? Why was his location not being tapped? Is still to be answered.
You were disagreeing. Go ahead, Aditya.
No, see, first and foremost, people in this case are making far-fetched allegations. You have friends coming out. Of course, I first begin with the utmost respects to the memory of the departed soul. But the fact of the matter is, we have friends making some random statement before the police. Now, two things. Let me come straight to the point. One of the sections which has been under which the FIR has been registered is Section 80 of the BNS, dowry death. Now, for dowry death, the death is within 5 months of marriage. It is attracted. But the key requirement is there should be some dowry-related demand. And as for the materials coming forward, the WhatsApp chats, there is no, there might be some element of acrimony, but there is no evidence of a dowry demand, cash or gifts coming, which undermines in my opinion, which leaves Section 80 inclusion a lot to be desired. It undermines the second. Number two, if it's a case of abetment to suicide, where is the suicide note? Because the victim can be in a negative state of mind for several reasons. Many marriages, unfortunately, do not work out. But just because dissatisfactory, negative messages, sad messages have been exchanged, person is not happy in marriage. It can be, other side might also not be happy, but that does not amount to a suicide note. My first question is, where is the suicide note? Police had access to the crime scene. And moreover, there's an allegation that the houses, the fact is, the hanging happened on the terrace, and I'm sure the police are not so nice as not to secure the crime scene. Where is the suicide note? So
Then help me understand. Then help me understand. Then help me understand,
it has
Aditya.
to be established whether it was suicide or it was, you know,
a murder. That the family has
it has
been
to be
claiming.
established. That is why it is all the more important that he, you know, cooperates with the investigation.
So therefore,
if he is absconding, why is it?
Barnali, no. But एक minute. I have a question for you, and I'm taking off from what Barnali is saying. But you know, Barnali is raising a good point. So you are innocent. You have not asked for any dowry. You have not harassed the girl. The girl had some mental problems, and she was a drug addict. And she had, you know, she was traumatized after the abortion, so she decided to hang herself. Okay, if that is your theory, then I want to ask you, very simply, why is the mother-in-law not cooperating with the probe? I'm not saying it. The Madhya Pradesh Police has told that to court today, that there are 3 notices that have been sent to her. She refuses to file her statement. She refuses to speak to the police. This boy has been missing. The husband has been missing for 10 days. If you're guilty, what are you running from? Why are you silent in front of the police?
See, if the police has a grievance against a non-cooperation, they can go and get her ABA cancelled. But they cannot come.
That may happen on Monday. That may happen on Monday because the police is fed up.
It may happen. It may happen. It may not happen. But the point is, they cannot come. See, in India, confessions before the police are not admissible in evidence.
Arey bhai, you record a statement when a probe is happening. If I'm one of the accused, I don't have a choice not to record my statement. Now, if am I being silent and am I not cooperating because there's an element of guilt? Everyone will ask this question. If you are absconding for 10 days, everyone will ask the question, you are guilty, you are hiding something.
But this is a matter of investigation. We cannot conclusively say something because the investigation is still underway. However, like my learned friend is saying that it was dowry, there was no appointment to suicide, it was not a dowry case being made out, but 498, the erstwhile 498, which is now section 85 and 86 of the BNS, also talks about cruelty and any grievous injury to life, limb, mental health, physical, all comes under the ambit of cruelty. So there was cruelty from what the messages were going around.
And one has to establish whether there was continuous and sustained, you know, cruelty. Like how was she harassed? All this has to be established and looked into. We can't just say, you know, at this point of time, without all the evidence on record, we cannot really conclusively say that, okay, whether it was a murder or it was abetment to suicide. You need to look into it. The matter has to be investigated further. The behavior of the accused, but the fact that he was absconding, that itself goes against him. I mean, why should you abscond?
No, it cannot
you
be.
Cooperate with the system.
The conduct immediately after the offense. See, the offense is not of murder here. You cannot just bring in murder like this. Prima facie, it's a case of suicide.
Yes, the first post-mortem has also said it's a suicide. But that is what it's what the family is claiming. It's what the CBI will now investigate.
And that's why the second autopsy was down.
No, but the point is till the time the investigation happens, you cannot pile on sections onto the FIR. There has to be some prima facie element for the new section of murder to be incorporated. Otherwise, tomorrow, the FIR can be stretched to cover anything. It can be
what has to be looked into is whether this was an isolated incident or whether it was a continuous process of harassment, whether there was continuous demand for dowry. I mean, there has to be something to it, you know, that one is demanding dowry. There has to be some written proof to it.
You know,
it cannot be just in the hearsay. You have to prove that, whether there is dowry demand, whether there was cruelty.
Very suspicious. I agree, but I find some things very suspicious. On the day that Twisha dies, 7 lakh rupees are transferred into her account by her husband and her mother-in-law. On the day she dies, she had gone to a beauty parlor a day before she died. The mother-in-law, after her death, calls the beauty parlor asking for CCTV footage. In fact, she sends people, the advocates there, who say they are the police, to look at the CCTV. And, you know, and the sort of questioning that takes place is, what kind of mood was she in? What kind of services, you know, did she ask for, etc. I find all this behavior very suspicious. I mean, you have someone who's just died in your family. Your daughter-in-law has just died in your family. And you're talking about plants not being watered. You're talking about her being schizophrenic. You're talking about, you know, her ruining everything. You're questioning her character. I mean, honestly,
They were
The way the family has behaved, Aditya,
their own interests.
the way the family has behaved, there's no sympathy for them right now. Tasneem, would you want to come in here? Aditya's Digital India is failing today.
So basically, I think whatever you said, they were trying to build a case to protect themselves legally. Being from the legal fraternity, being from the background, they knew what kind of case could be made out against them, and they were laying the groundwork. May or may not necessarily point to, it is very early to say any kind of abetment to suicide or murder. It is early to say unless investigation points otherwise. But basically, whatever they were doing was very crude, was very uncalled for. It showed zero emotional attachment to the daughter-in-law, to the wife, and a more practical approach legally being taken to safeguard their interests.
Give me a moment here because there's more news breaking. It's on our screens. Samarth Singh has been taken into custody by the Bhopal Police. Rucha, you have more details. Please go ahead. Okay, we'll try and go across to Rucha in just a bit, but this is the information that is being flashed by our reporters on the ground from Jabalpur. Samarth Singh has now been handed over to the Bhopal Police. Jabalpur ke SP ne is baat ki pushti ki, which means this is something that has been confirmed by the Jabalpur Police. So this is essentially, is then the process taking over now.
Of course, the process needs to be completed, the investigation needs to be completed, and they need to cooperate with the system. And if they're not cooperating, that shows the guilt. If they're absconding and on the run and they do not want to cooperate, they have to cooperate with the system. Even if they want to show, or prove that they're not guilty, then let them come forward and prove that.
What was interesting, ladies and gentlemen, as I slip into a quick break, is Samarth Singh's lawyers telling the court that the media is trying to tarnish his image, that there is a social media circus around this entire story and therefore the media should be gagged. He's now in custody. Slipping into a break, much more on the other side. Do stay with us.